It's been 1 week since devastating floods took the lives of 3 people in Junction. The bodies were recovered last week, but one person is still missing. Eyewitness News reporter Jeremy Baker is following the search and has the latest.
The first body was found last Wednesday about 6 to 8 miles downstream from where we are right now. The third last Friday about 20 miles downstream. But the fourth, Charlotte Moy from Alabama, still has not been found as the search and rescue effort has now turned into search and recovery.
That's the most difficult decision an incident commander can make, is to switch from rescue to a recovery mode. And because everybody, it's not that they do any less than they've been doing, but they slow down just a tiny bit, be a little more careful.
Deputy Sheriff Randy Milliken says safety of the searchers is a #1 priority.
Safety is the #1 consideration when you're searching, obviously, after rescue, because you don't want to have to rescue the rescuers, and that can happen quickly.
The cold, raw, rainy weather is also playing a factor in today's search. The air is so cold that the water is actually warmer. You can see steam rising out of the river. But even in this weather, volunteers are still searching, but their efforts are being hampered by animals that are also in the water.
They have to watch out for stepping in things and decayed things and catching some bacteria that would be harmful to them or to the search animals.
As the search for Moy enters day 8, Milliken says the town has come together to help the victims in a big way.
Our local laundry, commercial laundry, opened its doors and said, we're not going to charge you. As a matter of fact, we're not even going to ask you to wash your own clothes. Just bring them here. We'll wash them, fold, dry them, fold them, get them back to you.
And even volunteer help from many, many miles away.
Yesterday, we had a gentleman who lives maybe 3 counties away, brought in his helicopter and did a helicopter search for nothing. Paid for his own fuel, flew down here and searched with us all day long.
Sheriff Milliken says the only thing that will stop the searchers from doing their job is a rapid rise in water, which thankfully does not appear to be happening even with this rain. In Junction, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.